Hi, good afternoon. My name is Monique Sarius, and you're joining us for the live of Critical English Grade 7. We have two of our usuals. We have Alicia and we have Azaria with us. One of them has started school so far, and the other one will soon start for secondary. So we're exciting. It's a new term, and I wish them all the best, and I wish all the grade 7 students who started out this week all the best for your new school and your new uniform, and I hope you like your new school. So we're continuing what we started last week with persuasive writing, and Alicia was with us, and we just want her to tell us in one sentence what is one thing that she remembered from our last discussion.
That when writing persuasive writing, it helps express your emotions.
Good. So we can talk about emotions, right? And one of those aspects that we talked about was emotional appeal. So if you want someone to do something or to believe something, you can motivate them by showing them that they may feel happier if they do it, or they will feel sad if they don't do it, or something like that. And as I was thinking about this, I was thinking about how it's used in different circles. For example, maybe a preacher in a church may say, you shouldn't tell lies, otherwise you'll go to hell, right? Or you should speak the truth, because if you speak the truth, you'll go to heaven afterwards. So that's also emotional appeal, make you feel that you want to do X because so-and-so will happen, or not do X or so-and-so will happen. So that's just one example in a religious setting. And there's also one with school, perhaps. Maybe your teacher may want to motivate you to do something. So your teacher will say, well, everyone who gets this sum right will get a sticker or will get a gift. And everybody wants to get a sticker or gift. So it's like an emotional appeal. They're making you want to do it by giving you positive reinforcements. There's also social media. Maybe everybody likes Blackpink. Do you know that group? Good. Maybe everybody likes it, and you don't like it, but because everybody likes it, and they say, girl, what happened to you? Why you don't like this thing? And you feel kind of pressure to like Blackpink because everybody else likes Blackpink. So persuasive writing is present, or persuasive devices are used in everyday experiences, not just in your English class, not just on Tuesdays or Thursdays. So let's continue. If you look on the screen in front of you, you're going to see some other techniques. So we spoke about some of these last week, and I've put them in a nice fancy diagram there. We talked about the one in yellow, emotional appeal. There's the one in green, use of authority or authority figure. So if who's a popular person that you girls know? Maybe a singer or a writer or somebody like that, or a president even. Who's someone that you see as an authority figure? Nobody? Who's your favorite actor or actress, maybe? Or singer or musician or artist?
Zendaya.
Who's that?
Zendaya.
Sandio?
Zendaya.
Oh, Zendaya. Oh, yes, exactly. So let's say they want to show you maybe a brand of clothing that she wears, and they have her picture there. Would it make you want to buy this brand of clothing because she's wearing it? Sometimes. Yes, so sometimes these things are even pricey, but because your favorite star is wearing it or using it or saying you should use it, people want to buy it. So also that is authority figure. So if Zendaya can wear it, then I should also be wearing it because she's like a fashion icon, perhaps. But there are also cases where like a scientist may say something, and the scientist may say global warming, we should probably stop using the AC because of global warming. And because they have like a doctor at the beginning or the ending of their name, PhD, if they have that initial there, then we're thinking, oh, if a doctor says so, maybe I should listen to them. Or how about smoking? What do you usually hear on the radio? Smoking is bad for your health. And it's coming from, professionals, doctors, and those sorts of people. So if they can say that, then it's probably correct. It's probably true. So we probably may want to listen to them because they say that. Good. So the authority figure is there. We have examples. So you basically give someone examples of why or why they shouldn't do something, which we talked about last week. Contrast, we also spoke about. So Azaria, last week we were talking about this and we said contrast is when you're drawing a distinction between two things or saying why they're different. Or you can also even use this other one called comparison. So we may say these two things are similar in this aspect, but they're different in this other aspect. So contrast kind of can talk about both sometimes. Then we have use of evidence, which is similar to examples, but it's a bit different because evidence you have to show proof. Because we were talking about the census some time ago. Do you guys remember us talking about the census? With collecting figures and how many persons live in the house and so forth. So right now that's taking place in Guyana. So the evidence that they get from there will know how many persons are living in Guyana. That's the evidence. What percentage of these persons living in Guyana are of this race or this religion or that religion. So use of evidence. If you want to prove a point to somebody, you can use evidence. Then we have repetition. Now there's this popular saying that says repetition is for emphasis. So if you keep saying the one thing over and over, then eventually people are going to learn it. There's this ad, I don't know if you guys know it, but it used to be playing on the radio before. Cell Phone Shack from Charmin Blackman. Okay, it's a very old ad, so you probably don't remember it. Is there any ad that plays on the radio sometimes or TV that you know by heart because you've heard it so many times? Anything with maybe wash your hands or so, they say over the TV sometimes? Remember during COVID, they were telling you to wash your hands and whatnot and whatnot. So it's like you already know what they're going to say even before they say because you've heard it so many times. So repetition can also be used. There's other one, exaggeration. Now, I probably have $100 in me, but I'm going to exaggerate and tell you that I have plenty money on me. So when you're exaggerating, you're making it seem more than it actually is. Or let's just say somebody hasn't met me in real life. So I told them I have long hair, very long hair, but it's an exaggeration because my hair isn't long, right? It's short. So an exaggeration is saying something is more than it is. Or if I'm trying to convince you to buy this bottle, for example, I might say millions of these bottles are being sold all over the world, so you should buy it because a lot of persons are buying it. But in reality, maybe only 100 of these bottles I've sold. So I'm exaggerating the figures by making it seem like it's more popular, more persons are using it, so you should use it. I'm sure you've heard examples of that before, right? Or your friends would tell you sometimes, oh, I stay up till whatever time, but their parents had them in bed by 8 o'clock. So that can happen as well. And we spoke about emotional appeal. So that's just revision from what we did last week, basically. So if you look at the screen this time, we have 3 different icons there. The first one, and these are some additional persuasive devices or techniques that you can use when you're writing or when you're speaking. And what's the first one there, Alicia?
Sound effects.
Sound effects. So some of the examples are
Rhymes.
onomatopoeia, onomatopoeia. And the other one is alliteration. Do you know any of those?
Yes.
You know rhymes.
Yeah.
So tell me what a rhyme. What is a rhyme?
Rhymes can be like words that stuff that goes along.
That goes along with or matches it, right? So if I say, give me a word that matches this one. The sun is yellow. The ending word, what matches with yellow? When I answer the phone, what do I say? Hello, right? So yellow, hello, good. So that's a rhyme, good. Onomatopoeia now. There was this song a few months ago, or probably a year ago, about this guy singing this song about a gun going. What was the song the gun made? Pishing wing wing. You remember that one? Good. So some books may say the gun went bang, or when the boy jumped into the stream or the river, the creek, splash, splash, or what. But in Guyana, what we say, plujung, right? That's something we say, right? So the sound that the word makes is the word. So the bang, the pishing wing wing, that's onomatopoeia. So you're not saying that is exactly the sound that the whatever makes. Or the clock goes how? The clock, the wrong ones with the numbers on it. Tick-tock, right? Good. So the sound that is being made, that you're hearing, is also the word for the sound. So that's onomatopoeia. And then you have alliteration. So Peter Piper picked a... Continue it for me. Peter Piper picked...
A stick.
A stick? No, everything begins with P.
Picked a pepper.
Good. Pick the pepper, blah, 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 right? So that's alliteration, where the same sound is being repeated over and over, but that sound has to be a consonant. That's why it's alliteration. If it's a vowel, it's called something else, but we're not going to go into that because we're looking at alliteration. So there are other examples like she picks seashells by the seashore. All of them are starting with, all the words here are starting with S. She picks seashells by the seashore. So when you have that sound going there, it's called alliteration. So people can have that kind of an effect in their advertisement, when they're speaking, when they're writing, when they're doing a poem, just to persuade you. There's the other one there on the screen. What's the second one there, Azaria? So it's imagery. Like image, but re. What are the examples next to it? Simile.
Metaphor.
Personification. Thank you. Do you know any of those?
Yeah, I know them.
You know them. Can you remember any example for any one of them? That's all right if you can't. It's good that you know them. Do you know them too, Alicia?
I kind of know metaphor.
Kind of know metaphor. All right. Try to see. Let's hear what you have to say about it. All right. I'm going to give you a hint, or I may even tell you. So when you're comparing two things using like or as, it is a simile. If you're comparing two things without using like or as, that's a metaphor. So if I tell someone that their head is as big as a balloon, I'm comparing their head to a balloon using as. That's a simile. We're going to go into this in a different session, but I'm just sharing this with you so you know for this session here. Metaphor, if I say your head is a balloon, I'm calling your head the same thing as a balloon. But we know we're comparing because obviously your head can't be a balloon, right? So we're comparing it without using as or like. The other one, personification. Can table talk? No. Humans speak, right? We talk. But if I told you that the table is calling your name or the chair is calling your name, I'm implying that the table or chair are talking. So when I'm giving human attributes or qualities to a non-living thing and making it behave like a person, then that's personification. So your glasses isn't seeing, you're the one seeing, but if I say your glasses isn't seeing all right today because for whatever reason, then I'm giving your glasses a human quality there of seeing, but it doesn't really see, does it? So, too complicated? Or we're going to come back to this in a different session based entirely on the third devices. We're just straying away a little bit. So we have the other one, the rhetorical question. Why do I have the simile, metaphor, personification? Okay, those are terrible examples. Those are not rhetorical question. So rhetorical question is basically a question. So we did this before, and if I tell you, didn't we do this before? Do I expect you to really answer? It's really, I'm telling you that we did it before without telling you that we did it before, right? Didn't we do this before as a question, but I'm really implying to you that we've done a topic before. Or, this is probably not a good example either, so I won't share it with you. I'll tell you afterwards probably. But it's like you're late and your teacher tells you, are you late to my class? You're already late. And they're asking you the question, but everybody already knows you're late. So it's a rhetorical question because the answer is already contained in the question. The teacher's just trying to tell you that you're late, but by asking you a question without actually telling you. All right, let's go to the other one. Persuasion is used in advertisements. So let's look at the first one there. You may not be able to read the fine print, but you can read the writing at the top. What does it say at the top there? You get all your smokes for free, or do you? So on the little fine print at the bottom, it says, smoking cigarettes can cause yellow teeth, bad breath, and gum disease. And then it quotes the FDA and the Red Cross Gov. So it's basically a government-sponsored ad, and they had these scientific people put together this thing here. So the kind of advertisement that is used, the kind of persuasive device that is used here would be use of evidence or authority figure. So the evidence will be the photograph that you're seeing there. Teeth look nice? No, it looks ugly, right? And stained and whatnot. So that the first one there is evidence. This is what your teeth will look like afterwards. But we also have authority figure because the FDA is used there, which is basically like how we have the Bureau of Standards in Guyana that will say if this thing is good or not good. So they have this body set up as well that does the same thing, Food and Drugs Department or something. So they would say this is not good for your health, but they're actually showing you a photograph there. So and there's also emotional appeal, but this isn't the emotion to make you want to smoke, does it? What emotion does it leave you with that you do not want to smoke? So we have 3 of those things used here with just those simple words there. So do you think it was a good ad?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being great and 1 being not great, what would it be? Did it convey the message appropriately? 5. Yeah? You give it a 5? 4?
4.5.
4.5. How much would you give it? 4. All right, let's go to the next one. Okay, raise your hand if you ever had a Coke. Keep your hands up if you had more than 1 Coke some days. Keep your hand up if Coke tastes better than Pepsi. You think Pepsi tastes better than Coke? Kind of. We should throw her off the room right now, right? All right. So this is an ad. Clearly, what are we advertising here? Coke, a bottle of Coke, right? Coca-Cola. Open a Coke, open happiness. So, how does this picture make you feel? How does this advertisement make you feel?
Want to go buy it?
You want to go buy a Coke, right? You want to go drink a Coke. Or if you see a KFC ad by the side of the road, sometimes you want to go buy KFC right away. But what about the ad makes it different? Open a Coke, open happiness. So what are they trying to tell you? That if you drink a Coke or if you open a Coke, you're going to get what? Look at the wording on it. Open a Coke, open happiness. They're promising you what when you get this Coke? Happiness. So they're comparing the Coke to happiness. So comparison is used there, which is one of our strategies. It is also having an emotional appeal, because if most people want a happy life, they want to be happy. So they put the picture of the Coke there and say you're going to get happiness if you get it. So emotional appeal is also used there. Can you think of anything else that's used there? If they had put a bottle of Pepsi there next to the Coke, but the Pepsi looked not very nice, that would also be contrast. You're telling me that this thing is different from that, but this one is the better one when compared to the other one. Let's look at the other one there now. So we have a bunch of numbers there. We're definitely comparing 2 things. We're looking at how the differences with them, so contrast is also happening there. But since we're using figures, and these figures are pulled from obviously some kind of survey that they did or some kind of research that they did, whoever did it, then they are relying on the use of what? Evidence, right? They have the proof there. They're saying you should do it this way because you'll spend less money. It's basically something about advertisement and how much people pay for ads, and they're basically trying to tell you that digital ads are better than printed ads because they save a lot of money and time and blah blah blah. So the whole point of showing you all of those things is to say that advertisements contain language of persuasion, or these techniques that we're being exposed to today. They're used by everyone and anyone, and you can make money off of them, because when you grow up and you get a job, they may hire you as a graphic designer, so you put up a nice photo with Coca-Cola or Pepsi, or what do we have in Guyana? What else? Fruta, maybe? And now you have to make it appealing to the audience and make them want to buy it. So you may get paid more if you create something that is effective. So it's not just about creating the photo, but what does the photo do? How does it affect other people? And you can be in a different career too, and you can use these same things to prove that your idea is better than your coworker's idea. So who do you think people will listen to if you're using persuasive devices? If you have your data there to say that this idea is better because 70% of persons will buy this product more, or more schools will benefit if we do this, or let's say you're into buildings or infrastructure, you're going to say if we build this road here, you're going to have more persons use this road, and you will ease traffic congestion in the other roads or the other streets because of this new road here, so we should build this road. You can be a politician, have people vote for you because your ideas are better than the other person's ideas. So persuasive devices, not just important for school, it takes you anywhere and everywhere, and you can represent yourself well. So back to the SOTUS method. You would remember this from last week, right, Alicia? So this one is one that we did last week. So remind us of it. What does the S stand for? Situation. The O stands for options. The D, disadvantages. A, advantages. And S is the solution. So we are going to go through another one with this and see where we go. So what's the situation here? We often see it.
People litter.
They're littering. So the problem is littering, right? Good. So let's look at our options now. We got 3 of them there. The first one is that what can we do about it? We can
help clean.
Good. So the first one is pick up the garbage, because so we're cleaning it up, right? The second one is don't. So this is what are they doing in that photo?
Littering.
Good. They're littering. You're throwing out a bottle from a car. A lot of persons do that, right? We're trying for them not to do it. So you can continue to litter as well. And the third one is use sustainable alternatives to plastic. So this is specifically why I walk with this one as well. This is a metal bottle that I can keep reusing and refilling with water or juice or whatever else I want to put in it. And I don't have to throw this away. But if I use a plastic bottle of water, now what happens?
Yeah, to continue throw it away.
Good. And every time I use one, I have to throw it away. And eventually what happens to the plastic?
It
ends up in the environment, right? Even if you throw it away in a bin and the garbage truck comes and pick it up, sometimes it still ends up on the seawall. Maybe it flew off the truck or something. Or, but sometimes people do, deliberately litter. They would just have their stuff and throw it off there. And if we want a cleaner Guyana, then we have to do something about it too. We can't just want something and not do something about it, right? So based on those options there, which do you think would be the best option?
Clean.
Number 1?
Yeah.
Okay, number 1. Alicia, which one for you? Number 3. So we're not going with number 2 at all. So number 3 is use sustainable alternatives to plastic. So if we use both of those things, then we'll have less littering. First of all, you won't have a lot of things to throw away, hopefully. And the second one is, even if there's stuff there that you may not have thrown away, you clean up basically. So we're going to get a cleaner community or a country and a world. So we talked about that. So the solution now is to create an advertisement. So remember option 1 and 3 that we talked about just now? To promote or reject littering. So we're going to reject littering. So we want to create an ad where people will reject littering. So we don't have a lot of time. We got like about 5 minutes left to do this. So you just tell me your ideas that you're going to throw. What are you going to tell people to convince them not to litter?
That it's killing animals in the sea.
Killing animals only in the sea?
And land.
Good. So we're just going to keep it broad then, right? Killing animals. Good. What else? Yeah.
Killing the lifespan.
What's that?
Polluting the air.
Good. So pollution. It's the air, it's the land, it's all of those different things, right? So it contributes to pollution. Sorry, Alicia, you want to give me one?
That the more plastic we put out into the environment, can.
You want to rephrase that in one word or two words for me?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, good. So on our advertisement that we're creating, we're going to put these things up. And how are we going to depict these things? Remember, we had you can use songs like alliteration, rhymes, and so forth. Are we going to create a rhyme? Are we going to use examples to show how many animals die per year?
Example.
Are we going to use scientific data? All right, so we're going to use examples to make this point. What else? We can think for one for this, and then we'll add to that one just now. Pollution. How can we convince them that littering contributes to pollution? Contrast. We can show contrast. So maybe one side of the advertisement will have how clean the place can be without litter, and the other side can have pictures showing the trash, basically. Very good. Anything else you want to add here, as Alicia? A third one?
It's unhealthy to the environment.
Harmful to the environment? All right, so we already have pollution. Do you want to add global warming here?
Yeah.
All right, global warming. And this also comes with the burning of fossil fuels to make plastics and all those different things, because you have to burn more energy to make these things. And if we're going to just keep throwing them away afterwards, we'll have to burn more fossil fuels to create them. And it comes back. All right, we're getting a bit distracted. All right, what persuasive device will we use to get this point over on global warming? So we already have contrast, we already have examples. What's one that you can use here? All right, let me take you back to the page where we were at earlier. How about, we had this page and we had this other one. So I'm going to stick to the colorful one. Which one of those?
Evidence.
Evidence, good. So we can have evidence. We can also have scientific data. I'm going to say scientific voice, but this is the same thing as use of authority earlier, authority figure. Contrast, good. We can stop the examples. And I wanted us to use one of the ones with sound effects. Rhyme, onomatopoeia, alliteration, or imagery. Which one do you want? I'm going to create a little jingle for it. No?
No.
All right, anything like simile, metaphor, personification, exaggeration, any of those? No? All right, we're going to leave this here then. Good. So we've created a plan of what we want to do. We still haven't created the ad as yet, and we do not have enough time to create the ad. But this photo that we have here, this was supposed to be the photo we use to create the ad with the woman coming out of that wall of pink or something. So something with that woman coming out there, and then all of these things to put in our ad. So we don't have to use her though. That was just one thing I was throwing at you. You want to use the contrast with the clean part and then the dirty part. That can work perfectly for our ad. So for homework, what are you doing? You're creating an ad using these 3 persuasive techniques to bring over these points on why people should not litter. So you want to take notes of this for me, please? And that's it for this week. And as we're wrapping up, while you're writing, and I want you to think out loud, we're going to ask Azaria first and then Alicia. What is one persuasive technique you learned about today, Azaria?
You could persuade people in any ways, even though it's not true.
Yeah, definitely.
You could persuade them still.
Good. You can even tell them that the bottle that you have in front of you has cream soda and not water. And once you're persuasive enough, they may believe you, right? Mm-hmm. Good. So it can even be used for those things. Alicia, what about you? One thing that you learned from today?
That it can help convince persons, like using the persuasive writing helps convince persons to do something.
Good. So it's not just about them listening to you and that's the end of it. You want them to do something afterwards. So they either start to believe something or they start to do something, like physically clean up the environment afterwards, for instance. So it can be used, like Azaria said, it can be used for good intentions or it can be used for bad intentions. And once you are aware of this, you'll be able to figure out why somebody is trying to persuade you and whether you should listen to them or not, right? It comes back to problem solving and so forth. So thank you for joining us today for this session. If you are also in grade 7, feel free to attempt the homework, and I'm pretty sure you can come up with some convincing arguments as to why probably people shouldn't litter, and hopefully you don't litter. So thanks for joining us today, and keep being the great persons that you are on screen and off screen. And our point today about littering, let's all try to create a safer, cleaner space to live in, homes, country, and the world, etc. Thanks for joining. Have a great week, people.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome again to Critical Math, grade 6 to 7. I hope you've been having fun, and today we have our 2 students with us. For the past 2 days, we have had only one, but we have both of them with us today. All right, so today we are introducing algebra, and so I have a video which involves a puzzle to commence our session. All right. All right, so I'm going to pause here for a bit. So you can see we have 3 sets of watermelons, all right, equals to 36. Then we have 1 set of watermelon plus 2 single mangoes. You can use say mangoes equals 28. And then we have a mango minus a banana equals 3. So we want to know what is 1 mango equal to, what the set of watermelon, because it's 2 slices represent 1 set there, right? What the 2 slices of watermelon represent, and what the 1 banana represent. So you want to try that? And let's see how we're thinking to kickstart our algebra today. So how are we reasoning? So we have 3 sets of watermelon, and each of them we have 2 slices. So the 2 slices we're counting them as 1, right? So how much is 1 set of, or those 2 slices of watermelon equal to? Come on, you can make notes, you know. You can make notes so that you can solve. Excuse me. Yes. Looks like a nice puzzle. Tricky?
Yes.
So something plus something plus something, or 1 set of watermelon plus another set is equal to 36. So you need to know how much is 1 watermelon, or 1 set of watermelon. Any thoughts? So what plus what plus what is going to give you 36? So the watermelons, they just represent symbols, right? So the fruits that you're looking at, they're symbols, and they represent a value, all right? So what you're thinking? Come on. Alicia, any thoughts? So how much would be 1 of this? You can see my cursor moving. How much would 1 of that equal to? 1 of this set. Rosario? How many sets do we have?
3 sets.
3 sets. So if you want to know what is 1 set, what do you do? You're dividing 36 by
3.
And that will give you the 1 set, right? So 36 divided by 3 will give you 12. So we know the 2 slices equivalent to 12. Great. So in the next line we have the 2 slices, which represent 12, and we have the 2 mangoes, right? 1 mango each gives us 28. So how would you know the value for 1 mango? So we know the value for the 2 slices of watermelon is 12. So we know 1 value there. So can we find the 2 mangoes? because the 2 slices of watermelon is 12, and then we have 2 mangoes equals 28. So how are we going to get the mangoes? Do we add, subtract, multiply, or divide?
Divide.
What you're dividing? You can't divide there yet. So we know what the watermelon is, right? So the difference is supposed to give us the mangoes. So 28 take away 12 will give us how many? Come on, do the math. Do the arithmetic. 28 take away 12. You're taking away 12. 16. So those 2 mangoes would be equivalent to 16. So how much is 1 mango? 8. Follow? Good. So we have 12 plus 8 plus 8 will give us 28. Right? Good. Next line. We have a mango minus a banana gives us 3. So how much is a mango? 8. So what can you take from 8 to get 3? 5. So that 1 banana is equivalent to 5. The watermelon will give us 12. And the 1 mango will give us 8. Think you follow?
Yes.
Right, so that's how you solve the puzzle, right? So you start off with what is known there, right? Because you have the 3 sets of watermelon to give you 36. So in the next line, you have a known, which is the watermelon. So you need to find the mango. So that's easy, right? So 12 plus something is going to give us 28. So you know what's the difference. And then in the next line, you have another unknown, which is the banana, but you know what the value of a mango is. All right? So let's check and see if we're correct. Let's check the solution. So in terms of 20 seconds. The solution in a bit. 2, 1. So, we're correct? We're very much correct. So what you've just done here is what? Algebra. Just like that. So the fruits are symbols, right? And each symbol represents a particular value or a particular number, right? So the 3 sets of watermelon, right, turn out to be 12 plus 12 plus 12 because the watermelon, right, the 2 slices equals to 12. So 1 slice would be what? 2 equals 12. So 1 would be half of 12. 6. Right? So you can have another thing going there where they could have actually given you 1 slice of the watermelon added to the mango or added to the banana. All right? So that's algebra in essence. So have you never really thought about algebra being like that, right? So it's not something that is really that abstract, right? So the symbols there are the fruits. So we have the watermelon, mango, and the banana. So each one of them represent a particular value. The value in this case, right, for the mango is 8, the watermelon is 12, and the banana is 5, right? So what we do sometimes is that in algebra itself, mathematically, what we do is that we replace those symbols that you're seeing there vividly, we replace them by letters, right? And the letters, they come from either the English alphabet or sometimes we use the Greek alphabet, all right? So let's see if we can try another one, and then we look at so it's a puzzle afternoon introducing algebra, right? Let's see puzzle 2. So it looks like a solar system, right? So 3 solar systems. equals to 21. And then we have, that's like the headpiece that you would wear going to space, right? So that headpiece added to the solar system is going to give you, what is that symbol? A rocket. A rocket. And then in the next line you have the solar system, and the headpiece equals 11. So how much is one of the, what does one of the solar system represent? What is the value?
7.
7, correct. You follow, Alicia?
Yes.
7, good. So which line do we go to next? Do we go to the second line or do we go to the third line?
3rd.
We go to the third line because we have one unknown there, right? And that one unknown is what? The headset? All right, so we know the solar system is 7. So 7 plus something will give us 11. So how much is that headset? Well, yeah.
4.
4? All right, because 7 plus 4 is going to give us 11. So where are we jumping to now?
The 2nd.
The second, right? Because in the second, now we know what the two values are for the headset as well as the solar system, and so we can know how much the rocket is, right? So how much is the rocket? So the headset is how much?
4.
4. The rocket is 7. So 7 plus 4 will give us 11. So the rocket is 11. Or you could have looked at the two lines are the same, right? Yeah, so rocket is just 11, right? So let's check. Answer is, we were correct. 7, 4, and 11. Very good. So that brings us to our content for today. So algebra is just an aspect of mathematics that involves the use of numbers and letters, or letters only, right? So that's what algebra is really. And so the letters are taken from, so the letters are taken from the English or Greek, Greek, G-R-E-E-K, the Greek alphabet. Right, so the English alphabet, so the letters going to be taken from A to Z, right? Greek alphabet, you'll have some fancy symbols, so you can have symbols like, so we know here you have A, B, C. The popular one is X, Y, Z, and then we use P, Q, and R, right? So all these letters can be used, right? L, M, and N, all of them basically, but usually you have A, B, C, X, Y, Z, P, Q, R, right? But there are more. For the Greek, pi, you know that symbol? So that's a symbol. So that comes from the Greek alphabet. And you can have others like alpha, beta, right? Those are symbols. You have lambda, right? You have gamma. So those are just other symbols. You have symbols like theta, right? Sigma. These are just some of the Greek ones you see from time to time. Right? Great. So the symbols or the letters they're used to represent, like I said, numbers. All right. So, some of you writing. So just like in our puzzle just now, right? We used symbols, and those symbols were in the form of fruits, right? You can use any symbol. So The ones that we use just now in the puzzle, they were in the form of fruits or some other ones representing the solar system and things like that. And so you can use those to solve simple problems in real life. All right? And so, it's another puzzle. This is a popular puzzle or a familiar one to you. Your friends may come to you and say, hello, think of a number. Right? And then they tell you to add, do that to it, do this to it, do all kind of things. So let's go through. Now, you're going to solve this the best way you know how possible. And then I'm going to show you how it's being done algebraically. Right? So, think of a number. So both of you, you're going to think of a number. You choose your own number. You have your number? Good. You can write it down just to remember it. You can write it down somewhere. So the next thing you're going to do to that number is add 15 to it. So what's your total? Don't tell me. You'll have a total, right? Now double the result. What does double mean?
To add on.
You can add it. You can add it twice, or you can multiply it by 2. So double the number, or double the result. You got it? All right. So what you're going to do next, you're going to add the result to the number you first thought of. So the result that you have, you're going to add it to the number that you think of earlier. You have that number? Good. So you're going to divide the result that you got by 3. All right? Divide the result that you have by 3. So do your division quickly. Are you there yet? All right, good. The next thing is to take away the number you first thought of. So from that value, you're taking the number that you just thought of. Got it? You got it?
Yeah.
So what is your answer?
14.
What is your answer?
10.
You got 10, you got 14. So maybe you need to check your arithmetic. Check your arithmetic quickly. All right. You made a mistake somewhere?
Yes.
All right. All right. Okay. So, in the meantime, while she's checking for her error, let's all try to solve this problem, right? So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to think of a number, right? But I'm going to replace that number with a variable. So let's say the number that I'm thinking of is just a letter. So the number I'm thinking of, I'm going to represent it as x. So that's the number I'm thinking of. Right? Good. Add 15. So in the next line, I'm going to add 15 to my number. And so that's what I'm going to have, right? The third thing is that we need to double. So double our result. So double a result either means I'm adding x plus 5 2 times, or I'm multiplying the entire thing by x plus 15. That's double. So it's 2 times. So if I work this part out, I'll have 2 by x, that's 2x. So you go in a little advance here. And 2 times 15 will give me 30. All right? The next thing I'm going to do is add this number to the number I first start off. So what is the number I first start off? That's x, right? So 2x plus 30 plus the number I thought of. All right? So 2 apples plus 1 apple is going to give me 3 apples. So let me write that here. So that's 3x plus 30. Great. Then we were asked to divide the result by 3. That was the next thing. So I'm going to take my result and I'm going to divide that by 3. So it means I'm dividing this 3x by 3 and also this 30 by 3. So I can cancel here. I'll have 10. So my final result is x plus 10. Then I'm asked to take away the number I first start off. What is the number I first start off? Which is the x, right? So I'm going to take that x away. So x take away, x is like 2 take away 2, right? So these two are going to cancel. Let me use red. These two are going to cancel. So what is my answer?
10.
10. Right? So you see how we used algebra, right? To replace the statements that we were actually given here. Right? So the unknown number, you can use a variable. The variable can come from the English alphabet, or it can come from, like I said earlier, the Greek alphabet as well. All right? So what you have learned here really is that if we have, so that variable that I thought of, x. So this is a variable. Right? So that is a variable. So any letter or symbol you use that represents a variable. Now there is a number. If you look here, you see I have 2x here. So that 2x represents a term, 2x. So this represents a term. And the term has a variable, which is x, and you see that there's a number in front of variable, right? So that number, this number is called a coefficient. That number is called a coefficient, and that x is my variable. Follow?
What does the 2 represent?
Huh?
What does the 2 represent?
The 2 represent the coefficient. We call it a coefficient. So any number in front of the variable is called a coefficient. So even x, as you've seen x here by itself, do you think there is a number in front there? What number you think is in front there? How many x's are you seeing?
1.
How much? 1. So there's a 1 in front there. So the coefficient here is a 1. So here you can write, if I have x, coefficient, the coefficient equals 1. Think you follow? So if you're not seeing the number, the coefficient is 1.
So you're putting the amount of the value?
Huh?
You're putting the amount of the value?
Yes, so we're having 1x, but we do not write 1x, all right? So that brings us to, okay, all right. So we've learned that we have, that we use, in algebra, we use symbols to represent numbers, right? And these symbols come from the English or Greek alphabet, all right? And so in order to solve simple problems, we used our symbols and so forth, right? So as it relates to the puzzle that we had earlier, right? So we had our puzzle earlier. We got the watermelon. So 2 slices of watermelon, right? Those are symbols that were used. We had the mango. Can you replicate the mango? And then we had the banana. So these are symbols, but they're not coming from the English or whatever alphabet, right? So it's just like how we can say 2 pencils, 2 pencils. Let me use eraser. Eraser, 2p plus e. So the P and the E are letters representing pens and pencils. Think you follow? Good. So that's it for today. Thank you for listening, and I hope that our little puzzles that we did today was a good introduction to our algebra session. See you next time. That is on Thursday. Have a great week.